It's the Sarge and Q Review right here on Sirius XM's Hip Hop Nation. We got Dr. Eric Thomas hanging out with us.
That's ET to you.
ET. Now, Sarge and I, we always have conversations on, who counsels the counselor, who heals the healer.
I thought everybody talk about other stuff we talk about.
No, we're not going to get there. Getting on a skip. So, you motivate a lot of people, but I'm sure you have your days when you just get up out of bed, you just be like, man, I feel like doing this today. Who motivates you? You know what I mean? What are some things, what are some of the things that motivate you?
Yeah, I'm going to be real, man. I don't have those days.
Never?
No, not no more. And I'm going to say this. It don't have nothing to do with me, I promise you. I feel like, and I said it before, and some people have a problem with it, but I really feel like in this generation, and I'm not putting myself on nobody's level, but the responsibility that Martin Luther King took back in the day, the responsibility that Malcolm X took, like I'm not comparing myself to them, but I'm saying I'm taking that Harriet Tubman, mentality. And so, man, every day I wake up, I'm on this mission. Because, look, my mother calls it triple darkness. They don't know that they don't know that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? And CJ said something deep to me today. He always said something deep. But CJ said, he said by the time most guys wake up and realize that life is serious, he like, 16-year-olds in high school don't have the slightest idea how serious life is. He like, they grow up, like, it's 22, they might be in prison, or 20 and they dead. He like, the most serious part of your life where you're forming who you are as a person, see, like they clueless. They don't even know. They don't even know what they should know. So for me, it's like I get up every day, like my video or my whatever can change the way a person thinks forever and put them on the right track. So it's not that I don't have bad days because I'm rich or I don't have bad. Shoot, my wife got MS. I lost 5 ounces to cancer. So it's not like, I don't have bad days because everything is peachy cream. I don't have bad days because I'm so focused on I got to get to this prison. I got to get to this youth detention center. I got to get to this high school. I got to get to this university. I got to get in this locker room. I'm talking to the rookies. I got to get in this locker room. Why? Because if y'all don't make the right decision, shoot, you got more money to mess up your life and more access than the kid, who's on the block. So and then when I read the comments, when I hear myself, people call me E.T., you won't act some right. I'm like, what? They playing your stuff. And that's the stuff to get me pumped and get me like, they truly believe my voice is important. And y'all have made my voice important. You made it popular with this generation by playing it. So, man, I'm getting up every day like, I don't know how long you got left to be on this earth, but spit fire every day. So when you die, like other, like Martin Luther King, whatever, this message can continue to go on. Yeah. Not for me, but somebody's going to need it 100 years from now. Somebody's going to need this 200 years from now.
I'm trying to figure out, like you see certain mistakes made over and over and over again. Yeah. So when you're talking to a Ben Simmons or some of the other new rookies, and like when you see some of the, and I'm talking about just because you talk to all sports, so when you see rookie professional athletes, and then you see like some of those mid-level guys, they on the lean, they on the weed, et cetera, et cetera. Because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you as a person of faith. I come into conflict with a lot of the things that the culture glorifies and deems cool. How do you what's your approach when you're saying, listen, these things are going to be presented to you,
This is what I told him yesterday, man. I said, let me be real with you. You got it, but can you keep it? You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's kind of like, I just try to explain to kids, I ain't against it like you think I'm against it. Like kids just think, all right, you against having fun. I'm not. I'm against doing stuff that's not a part of your goal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to be the best, whatever you trying to be. I just don't see how being drunk, I just don't see how that's going to benefit you. I'm not saying, like, I'm not mad at you for doing it. I'm just saying you told me you had a dream and a goal. You tell me how smoking going to help you make your life. You show me how, okay, I smoked this 10 times. This is going to improve I drink this. It's going to have me like, whoa, ready to perform. So for me, it's like, what did you say you wanted? So either you lying about what you say you wanted, either you ain't willing to pay the price for what you say you wanted, or you just talking to hear yourself talk. So the biggest thing I try to tell people is, don't you give up your future and your goal on what they doing. Like, you got to know what you want. And that's the biggest problem I see, is that A lot of kids are doing what everybody else is doing so they can fit in instead of saying, and I'm going to be real, y'all. Hey, I grew up in the same neighborhood everybody else grew up in. And it was a couple things that I just said, I can still be down with the crew, but I don't want to do this. And my team was like, yo, if you ain't down with it, you still with us. We still fam. And they start saying, he don't do that. So my thing is like, yo, be true to you and do you.
Yeah, as I'm still in the military. And people know that I'm in the military, so they'll pass the weed around me.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, you know, because they know what I'm about.
That's right.
You know, and I just think like you said, we got so many assimilators and followers that they just say, you know what, let me just do it because we think that this thing is cool, and then down the line, you know, it's just out there, you know. So let me ask you, you know, being a part of hip hop, and I was and I did we didn't connect in Detroit, but I did it. Me and Orlando had a chance to ride around in Detroit, and I saw the despair.
Yeah, we thought that we were lost when we put it in the GPS. No, we weren't lost. Yeah. We hit the right address. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We saw so much despair, and you know, and it's crazy how you travel around the world and you change lives around the world. How do you feel like, you know, when you see all those boarded up abandoned buildings and
over and over,
you know, and everything like that in Detroit and in Flint, and see what the hometown is going through?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because I realize how important exposure is. And I put my kid, I've allowed my kids to get out this country and see other countries. You know, my son was blessed to be in New York and do an intern this summer. You know, so I expose my kids to, you know, both communities. But all these kids don't have an option. Like, it hurts me that what they call life is really not. Everybody's not experiencing that life, you know, and they're coming out, let's just say they're in the fourth quarter, you know what I'm saying, behind 80. You know what I'm saying? Like, they coming behind. And here's the challenge again. They don't even know that they're behind the 8 ball. They don't even know.
I know.
That, you know what I'm saying? So
I know I was behind. Hey, I was in Argentina. Don't laugh. I was in Argentina, and, you know, I was at this really nice hotel. And I'm talking really nice. Like the hotel that you talked about with you know. Talked about your wife. You know.
That was just because wifey was there.
Yeah, you know.
Me and seeing something different.
You know. But it was a nice hotel, and I'm from La Place, Louisiana.
Okay.
You know, a little town outside of New Orleans. So in the hotel, they had the toilet. Then they had what I thought was a little face bowl on the side of the toilet.
Oh, the bidet? Bidet? Yeah. Waterfall? You thought it was a water faucet?
I said, well, how nice. They got the face bowl right here next to the toilet. I washed my hands in the toilet.
I got my hand raised. I feel it.
Did you drink some water?
I'm going to tell you on the radio, right? But you will only be raised to the level that you're exposed to. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. And so, for me, it's not even one or two, guys. You're talking about cities like this.
Yeah.
You're talking Gary, Detroit, Chicago, you know. And so for me, man, it does hurt because I know if our babies knew what they was capable of, if they knew what was in their DNA, they would duplicate it, you know. So it's definitely painful to see. But I've not lost hope. Yeah. I've not lost despair.
It's tough.
We're still in the schools districts. We're still doing our thing. I'm forcing those Detroit, Michigan State students to go back home and to put on programs to mentor these kids. And we can't do everything, but we do take a group from Detroit, bring them to Michigan State, take them to the restaurants, take them to the games, expose them to the college atmosphere and say, hey, we know there are multiple ways of getting out. We don't have access to all of them, but we have the university level, and we're going to expose you to that and use that.
Speaking of hope, how do you feel about this relationship? Because like I'm saying, I just feel as though you're so hip hop. Yeah. How do you feel about, you know, this relationship between young black males and the police?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, let's be 100.
And how do you not lose hope? And now we're seeing the desperation of the loss of hope with people, you know, acting out in both sides.
And for me, it's and I'm just gonna say this because I'm a historian, so it's easy for me not to lose hope because I understand, as difficult as our times are, this is not the most difficult times we've experienced, you know. And so let's not make these, you know, the best of times, but let's not make this the worst of times. You know, there was a time in our history where somebody could do certain things to you, and you couldn't say nothing about it. Like, you couldn't get an education, like you couldn't learn how to read or write.
You couldn't vote. Yeah.
You couldn't do anything. So for me, I will not lose hope, because when you lose hope, you lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to start there by saying you can never give up. You can never throw in the towel. And that's just not how we're made. So that's number one. Number two, to address the issue, I say that we have to be responsible on both sides.
Yeah.
The police have a job to do. They've sworn to protect, to honor, and to serve. Listen to me. You can't get out of that. That's what you vowed to do. You owe me that. So when they're not doing that, they have to be held accountable, because that you swore I will honor and protect. So for me, we gotta hold them accountable. But at the same time, I say to my young men, I gotta hold you accountable. I've got a son. My son has been pulled over by the cops. And I've said to my son, look, I can't guarantee your life, but I can guarantee I've raised you right. And I need you to follow exactly what I tell you to do, exactly how I can tell you. Now, I can't speak to anybody else's children, but my son has been stopped at least once or twice. He's in the studio with us, and he came home both times. Mm-hmm. He made it home both times.
How do you feel as though how do you feel because you had to tell him, keep your hands on the steering? Number
Terrible.
One, roll the windows, roll all the windows down, turn all the lights on.
Take the bass out of your voice.
Take the bass out of your voice. Yes, sir, no,
yes,
sir.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And speak loudly when you're motioning to do things. I am going to get my driver's license.
Yeah. I feel terrible. I'm being 100. I feel terrible. It's happened to me before. I feel terrible. But what I told my son, I will feel worse if I gotta take your mom to the church and roll you down that aisle. So we gonna get through this. But here's what we're gonna do: prevention. There's a couple things I need you to do so you don't even get stopped. I need you to make sure your tail lights are always, your license is a registration. The stickers on the back. I need you to look a certain way when you're in the vehicle. I tell my son, I tease and say, hey, when you get pulled over, pull out, make a mistake, don't pull your lights out first. Pull out your college ID. Yeah. Like, let them see you in college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he pulls out his military card all the time.
I'm just being real.
I pull that card
and I hate. Listen to me. How do you feel, E? I feel terrible that we're in 2016 and we still talking about this, and that we're having the challenge as we have. I feel terrible, but I would feel worse if another young man is shot and killed. I feel terrible if the people who protect and serve don't do what they're supposed to do. But I do want to say this, though, because a lot of times you have to understand where your focus goes, your energy flows. We have a couple people who are making the police look terrible, but we have to be honest. Not every single cop in the country is doing that.
That's what I tell Sarge all the time. I'm saying when an incident goes down like this, the good cop must
looks terrible.
Oh my God, I gotta go. Go
absolutely.
Into this.
And I'm just saying, to be fair, we have to salute the people that's doing what they're supposed to do, and we got to hold those that not doing what they got to do accountable. But we can't hold them both accountable to the same thing, because the guy that's doing what he's supposed to do. I've had people who pull me over, and look, I was speeding, and they did handle me with care. But I've had the other guy that was the jerk that didn't do what he was supposed to do, took me out the car for no reason. But, like I said, man, everybody has to be held accountable, and the young man has to be held accountable, and also the cop has to be held accountable. But look, let's not lose hope. I did more TGIMs. We're doing podcasts now. We about to come out with the marriage thing. We did the success series on camp. Like, when tragedy happens, we not despair and quit. We let's amp up our service and let's do more.
Okay. All right, listen, man, before you break our furniture
I'm
here.
sorry, I'm about to he telling the truth. He telling the truth. He telling the truth.
Before you break our furniture.
I know we can't afford it.
First and foremost, man, before we wrap this thing up, and I know you do a lot of talking, but I just want you to listen. Honestly speaking, you are a complete example and an inspiration to our people. I'm glad I found you on World Star, and so many other people found you where the rubber meets the road, where Jesus walked. He didn't walk in all these high places. He walked with the people, and you walk with the people. And we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
The secrets to success, the books, and the series, and the new podcast, and everything that you do. Honestly speaking, whenever you in anywhere near a Sirius XM studio, we're honored to have you. Come and grace our studios and want to promote anything and everything that you or your team is behind, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me on this platform.
It's Hip Hop Nation. It's the Sarge and Q Revue right here on Sirius XM's Hip Hop Nation. We got Dr. Eric Thomas hanging out.
That's
with
ET to you.
ET. Now, Sarge and I, we always have conversations on, who counsels the counselor, who heals the healer.
I thought you were about to talk about other stuff we talk about.
No, we're not going to get there. Getting on a skid. So,
sweating.
You motivate a lot of people, but
so it's not like, I don't have bad days because everything is peachy cream. I don't have bad days because I'm so focused on I got to get to this prison. I got to get to this youth detention center. I got to get to this high school. I got to get to this university. I got to get in this locker room. I'm talking to the rookies. I got to get in this locker room. Why? Because if y'all don't make the right decision, shoot, you got more money to mess up your life and more access than the kid, who's on the block. So and then when I read.
I'm sure you have your days when you just get up out of bed, you just be like, man, I feel like doing this today. Who motivates you? You know what I mean? What are some things, what are some of the things that motivate you?
Yeah, I'm going to be real, man. I don't have those days.
Never?
No, not no more. And I'm going to say this. It don't have nothing to do with me, I promise you. I feel like, and I said it before, and some people have a problem with it, but I really feel like in this generation, and I'm not putting myself on nobody's level, but the responsibility that Martin Luther King took back in the day, the responsibility that Malcolm X took, like I'm not comparing myself to them, but I'm saying I'm taking that Harriet Tubman, mentality. And so, man, every day I wake up, I'm on this mission. Because, look, my mother calls it triple darkness. They don't know that they don't know that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? And CJ said something deep to me today. He always saying something deep. But CJ said, he said by the time most guys wake up and realize that life is serious, he like, 16-year-olds in high school don't have the slightest idea how serious life is. He like, they grow up, like, it's 22, they might be in prison, or 20 and they dead. He like, the most serious part of your life where you're forming who you are as a person, see, like, they clueless. They don't even know. They don't even know what they should know. So for me, it's like I get up every day, like my video or my whatever can change the way a person thinks forever and put them on the right track. So it's not that I don't have bad days because I'm rich or I don't have bad. Shoot, my wife got MS. I lost 5 ounces to cancer.